What's up, friends? While the end of the song plays, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me whatever you'd like. I was looking at the microphone instead of the camera. That was strange. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. We are not going to be putting a new flight controller in this Cinesplore because it's looking like it doesn't need one. The one and only Brandon's Baked Beans helped me out a little bit with some black box logs. He's who had looked at a log of this rig from a while ago and thought that there might be a gyro issue. There was a bunch of noise on like just roll, which is usually a dead giveaway. But we swapped the ESC over the past couple streams, and I figured I would put it back up in the air and do another log. And yeah, I don't know. It's we're still kind of playing with it, but there's a vibration at like 85 hertz, which is not great. Other than that, it's super clean though. So I just took a couple more logs and sent them to him. This ISDT charger is just beeping and beeping and beeping and beeping. I don't know why it's beeping so much. I also flew this guy on the smaller ducts, and I really like it. I really, really, really like it. For just like winging it around out front, working around, flying around people, these ducts would scare me, and I wouldn't necessarily need the extra speed. But yeah, these work well. Why just beep over and over and over again? Like what are you beeping about? Like what's happening over here that requires this much beeping? I don't get it. 36. Hold on. 36, 34, 34, 34. Okay! Those are, I'm going through some of my older batteries and looking at what the internal resistances are. And yeah. So it's gonna beep, but I don't. It doesn't need to beep as much as it currently is. Let me just throw another one on here, and there we go. Start. Hey, this other one just finished. All right, hold on. One more second. 12. 13. 13. All right. So speaking of internal resistances, I'm sure somebody out there is thinking, "Ooh, what internal resistance is too high?" And it depends on your charger. Every charger reads, not reads, but gives different internal resistance values. So yeah, what you want to do is, like, when you have a battery that's starting to shit the bed, put it on your charger, figure out and look at what the internal resistances are, and then you'll have a feel for it. But there's not like a number that I can really just give you. Because like on the B6 AC charger, for example, I would get really low, I think, internal resistances, and then on ISDT chargers, I would get much higher numbers for the same battery. So yeah, just another thing that's super annoying about our hobby. In the chat, if you'd like to talk directly to me, you can either do a super chat or you can just type CiottiFPV. If you type CiottiFPV, it'll light up in orange for me, and I'll know that you're talking to me. You don't have to put an @ in front of it, but you certainly can. Bob Noxious, Josh Robinson, Alec Dvornik is in the house. What's up, Alec? JT Custom Knives, Northern Tier, Grizz FPV, Scott FPV, Richard, Ramdonko, Quadzimoto, Frank Nicholas, Mr. Huggy Alley-Oop, Imp FPV, JT Custom Knives, Brandon's Baked Beans, Ramdonko, Patio Patterson, Ken Hill, Quad Doc, License to Drive, Marcel Off Axis FPV, June Loco, Mr. Huggy. I got most of you. The people who have tagged me so far are Bob Noxious. He says, "What's up?" Grizz says, "What it do?" Quadzimoto says, "What's up?" Alley-Oop says, "Hello." Ken Hill says, "Nice rip." Thank you, Ken. That was the first freestyle battery I've flown in probably about 3 months. I was very out of practice, but it is what it is. License to Drive says, "If someone on the internet told me not to believe everything on the internet, how would I believe them?" Yeah. Nick Burns just told us not to believe the internet. Good little video talking about how the Caddx Nebula Nano is not nearly as bad as it used to be. It would appear that Caddx updated it without saying anything. Because yeah, the Nebula Nano is it kind of looks fine. Doesn't allow you to do low latency mode, which means that it's not 120 frames a second. I guess it's 60 frames. But yeah, if you want to build a 15mm standoff to glide on DJI, sounds like the new Caddx Nebula Nano is a decent option for you. June Loco says, "What's up?" He also says, I figured out the crossfire issue. What was it, June Loco? Frank Nicholas dropping the link to CiottiFPV.com. Thank you, Frank. That is the website where, if you want me to keep doing this, you can support me. It's going to link to my Patreon, which helps me out the most. Fiverr page, where I'm going to work for you. I'll help you fly better, tune better, build better. Etsy store with a bunch of stickers and hardware and random shit. Teespring store with a bunch of t-shirts and mugs. And then a whole bunch of affiliate links. So yeah, head on over to CiottiFPV.com, click all the buttons, and your life will get so much better. I promise. JVFPV says, "We hots happening." Mr. Bill FPV says, "Hi, June Loco just tagged me and then said," oh, he goes, "New batch of TBS Crossfire Net." What's that? The new batch of TBS Crossfire Nano receivers. You have to update your module through Agent M. Shake my head. Really? Ricardo Ferreira says, here's a different question for you. How do you cope with flies nagging you while flying? I move away from Charleston, South Carolina. Mosquitoes attacking me while I fly was so bad in Charleston. Oh my God. It was I would just pack my shit up and go home. Like, I would get so frustrated, I would just pack my shit up and go home some days. And then I moved here to Atlanta, and it's nowhere near as bad. So I can't remember the last time I had that problem, to be honest with you. It's a good question, though. JVFPV says, holla. FPV Trucker says, I'm here. Hello, Collective. Frank Nicholas says, Caddx Nebula Nano has had a V2 for a long time, and it's advertised as V2 for the resellers who update their listings. I've purchased just the camera, and V2 is on the box. Well, that's good to know. Somebody should post that on Nick Burns' video, because he got that wrong in the video. Sounds like he got that wrong in the video. Josh Robinson says, have you seen that Shocker 3-inch frame? I've seen the 4-inch. I don't think I've seen the 3-inch. I'm not a fan of those Shocker frames. They got too much carbon, too much going on. Too heavy. But I know a lot of people like them, and that's totally fine. JVFPV says, words are hard. Indeed they are. Marcelo Faxis says, how about a big size CiottiZen sticker for people's cars? I would buy one. I've been putting the, most people that I've met have a CiottiFPV magnet inside their trunk. CiottiZen is interesting, though. Mr. Huggy rightly says, Charleston, the only place where the mosquitoes are bigger than the quads. Sometimes it feels that way. Sometimes it felt that way. No longer. I will never live there again. Great place to visit. Terrible place. Not terrible. Terrible's not the right word. Rough place to live. Let's just say that. Emacs did it again. They've made yet another propeller that doesn't work on many motors. This is the Emacs Avan Scimitar 3.5 by 2.8 by 3. And Emacs has this tendency, I don't know if tendency is the right word, but Emacs keeps making propellers where there's a part of the blade that is below the mounting base. And that's dumb. That's a dumb thing to do. And I'll show you why. I wonder if it'll work. It might actually clear on this motor. Oh, it does. So it does clear on this motor, but you can see the problem there. So first and foremost, this is way too small of a motor for this size and weight of a propeller, in my opinion. Wow, this camera is just gonna completely fuck me in the ass, huh? It's just gonna bend me right over, rub shards of broken glass all over its camera dick. Oh no, there it goes. Yeah, so you can see the problem, right? See how the part of the propeller hangs down below the bell? On a small motor like this, you can get away with that. But this is a 3.5. This is the size motor that, I'm sorry, the size propeller that in my opinion is really good on a 2004. And if you try to mount this propeller on a 2004, you can't. That drop down part of the blade hits the bell, hits the lip of the bell on the 2004. And this is a pretty standard 2004 here. Like we might be able to find a 2004. Well, let's check the Axis 2004s, just because they're right in front of me here, and it'll only take a second. So what I can confidently say is that these 3.5-inch Emax A-Vans absolutely will not fit the Aerolite 2004. But maybe it'll fit this Axis 2004. So the Axis 2004, it kind of, the motor bell kind of, you see it? It like falls off. Like it's tall in the middle and then it falls off towards the outside. So let's see if this, well, fucking farts. I gotta take the motor off too. Because there's a duct on there. And it's a 3-inch duct, not a 3.5-inch duct. So let's kick this motor off real fast here. This will also give you guys a better view of the motor. So yeah, if you're planning on using these Emax A-Van 3.5-inch props, pay close attention to your motor. Hey, look at that! It clears, wow, just barely. Just barely clears on the Axis 2004s. So there you go, top tip. If you're gonna run these 2004s, take a look at your motor and make sure that your motor doesn't look like an Aerolite. Because if it does look like an if it's a 2004 and it does have a flat top part of the bell like the Aerolites do, then you're gonna be hosed. I gotta be honest. I'm frustrated that I can't run these propellers on the 250. Although the 250 is a hot mess right now anyway, so whatever. But yeah. So I tried a couple more things. Speaking of, I tried a couple more things with the 250. I lowered the ramp up power, the startup power, quite a lot to try to get the electrical noise under control. That didn't make a difference. Well, it might have made a difference, but it certainly didn't fix the issue. What else did I do? I moved the filters around a little bit. I moved the PIDs around a little bit. That didn't help anything. I am out of ideas. So I don't know what to do. The 250 is either going to get not sold, it's either going to get given away in December. Lots of big full build giveaways coming up in December. So join, and they're all going to be done through Patreon. So now is an amazing time to get on the Patreon page so you don't miss those. Yeah. Fun things coming. So yeah, either I'm just going to give it away and then whoever wins it can put a different AIO in it, or they can fly. It's totally flyable. It just doesn't fly perfect. And all my shit has to fly perfect or my head will explode. So, you know. But, let me actually check something. Yeah. Here's another thing that pisses me off. These... Really? I didn't think I had any of these. I have a whole bunch of them. Well, now I have more. These are the old school A-Van Scimitar 3.5 by 2.8 by 3. And these are like a year old. Like these have been out a while. And I really liked that they used the... See me? they used the M5 hub design, and then they gave you the little inserts, just like GemFan does. And I loved that. On these the current Avan scimitars that you can buy, they didn't do that. They made them T-mount only. And that's silly. Like, don't do that. Don't make it so that less people can run your props. That's not cool. What I want to look at, though, is whether or not it's the same blade profile. Pretty sure it is. Oh, it totally is. Yeah, same blade profile. Same... Why? Why are you beeping so much? What is there to beep about? What is there to beep about? What do you want, P30 smart charger? Stop beeping. There's no reason to beep that much. Oh, it beeps. It beeps when each individual cell hits 420. No, it doesn't. It just beeps. Because all the cells are at 420 now. When I rolled over there a minute ago. Hey guys. So yeah. Emax Avan 3.5s. Great propeller. Great propeller. But why? What do you want? What is why? Are there like settings that I can get into to oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. System settings. Hey! Oh, volume. Low. There we go. Hey! Completion tone, repeat. Nope, single. Hey! What the hell's touch slide? Alright. Oh, look at all these beautiful settings. I haven't been in the settings before. This is a brand new charger. Oh! Oh, okay. I like all this. There's lots of cool settings in here. Max input power, bat go, backlight, volume. Okay, cool. Alright. Well, it's a lot less loud now. Oh, god damn it. I lost the by going into the deeper menu, I lost the internal resistances. There we go. I got there. Yeah, damn it. That sucks that you can't run these propellers on the aerolights. That's a shame. But not the end of the world, because the GemFan 3.5-inch props are fantastic too. BatGo is... Yeah, I think you're right, Brandon. BatGo was basically a communication between the battery and the charger, so that like you didn't have to like put it onto 4S or like yeah, it was some fucking nonsense. I don't know. It was something. The battery would talk to the charger and make your life easier. But nobody put it into the batteries, so didn't do anything. Athix says, have you tried canvas mode yet? I don't have DJI Athix, so I haven't tried anything DJI related. Let me get caught up on the chat here. Where the hell was I? Spencer Thorpe says, what do you recommend for a sub 250 3.5 or 4-inch top mount freestyle build, trying to decide whether to build on a 250 FPV Cycle 4 ride, AOS 3.5, or just get the Reckon 4 FR. Spencer, for me to properly... So this question that Spencer is asking is a perfect example of what I do on Fiverr in the build planning sessions, either half an hour or hour-long sessions. And the first thing that I do is ask a whole bunch of questions. The biggest question... I'm going to handle this in chat here for you, though, Spencer. The biggest question that I have is, like, what are you going to do with the rig? Like, what are you building this rig to do? Freestyle, cinematic stuff, long-range stuff, little bit of everything. Are you going to fly it, like, off your back porch? Are you going to fly it in, like, big locations? 3.5 inch and 4 inch doesn't really have there's no real, like, home for it. There's not, like, a thing that it does really well. In most cases, you want to build either a 5 inch or a 3 inch. There's really not a whole lot of reason to build a 3.5 or a 4, other than that you want to be on the hype train and have the newest, coolest thing. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. But, you know, just understand that, like, 3.5 and 4 inch, there's not, like, a correct... Well, I shouldn't say that anymore. The DJI Action 2 is the only camera that really is the right weight to be carried around on a 3.5 or 4 inch rig. So if you're planning on getting that camera, then yeah, 3.5 or 4 inch is potentially a good option. Although you could also just build a 5 inch freestyle rig at that point. So yeah, a couple of different questions there. Give me a little bit more feedback, and I'll be able to help you out a little more. Marcel says your NASA sticker is on my back window already. Nice. How's it holding up, Marcel? I've been pretty happy with the Sticker Mule stickers out in the sun. They seem to put some kind of a UV coating on them, and it seems to work pretty good. Frank Nicholas calling out that on getfpv.com they do call it a Nebula Nano V2. Interesting. License to Drive says 3D print some spacers and use longer M2s. I've done that. Oh, right. Yeah, I could do that. That's kind of heresy to me. I'm very sensitive adding any additional weight to the rotating assembly on these things, the rotating assembly being the bell of the motor and the propeller. So, yeah, I will never do that, but that would absolutely work. But yeah, I always keep the every fraction of a gram that I can off of the rotating assembly, because the rotating assembly has more to do with PID-based latency than pretty much any other change that you can make. So if you want your PID loop to perform really, really well, the most effective way to do that is to lighten up the rotating assembly. So, Imp FPV says, can't you use some little spacers to get more space? We just talked about that. Frank Nicholas says, for the full build giveaways, you should require at least one full previous month being a Patreon. Ooh, that's a really good idea, Frank. I guess I would have had to have called that out by now already. But I will do that for the future. That's awesome. Ram Donko says, goggles recording LOL, beep beep arg. Different beeps, but, you know, beeps. Brandon says, is that an ISDT charger? I don't know how mine works either. It beeps when it's done charging, LOL. It is an ISDT charger. Look at this. Look what I got. I got it from Pyro Drone. It's on ultra super duper clearance. Where's their clearance? There it is. Hidden in Swaggin' More. So I bought myself... Oh, it looks like I bought the last one. This guy for 115. P30. Because, yeah, I saw that 50 amp and I was like, ooh! I saw 50 amp, dual port, 115 bucks, and I was like, done. So it looks like I bought the last one, but What's an IPS screen? Is that a touch-sensitive screen? Why is that text so small? Who's gonna read this text? Ants? What is it? What? I don't know what IPS means, but oh, there's BatGo. Bluetooth Connect function mobile operations. Yay! I'll never use that in a million years. Look at this. So you can't get this anymore, but you can get this. I just saw this today, actually. So these prices all come down by 30% when you add them to your cart. And look at, if you need a big boy charger, big-ish boy charger. This isn't as good of a deal, but this is still a pretty good, okay, never mind. It's sold out. Sorry. Just kidding. Go to fpvknowitall.com, and Joshua's got the best chargers all knocked out there. Listed out, I should say. Mr. Huggy says, stop the beeps by turning it off. FPV Trucker says, the charger is letting you know it's done. How done? Oh, God, I almost threw up. How done is it, though? It's so done. It just keeps... Oh, canvas mode is shark bite. Oh, okay. No, I've not used shark bite yet. I've not used shark bite yet. JT Custom Knives says, lipo bag versus bat safe. Good question. Flight Test did a review of the bat safe, and they tested it against lipo bags. And the bat safe definitely did better, but they were blown away, as was I, by how good the little stupid lipo bags did. And it was at that point that I didn't buy a bat safe, and I just started buying lots of lipo bags. So yeah, the bat safe definitely works better, but the lipo bags worked phenomenally well. M2KFPV says, what was the final on those Zing 1504s on the Ripsqueak? Big thumbs up. I think they're my favorite motor for the Ripsqueak. I do have to fly it a little bit more. But yeah, I really like those Zing 1504s on the Ripsqueak, even when it was dragging around the Insta360 Go. Insta360 Go is 26 grams. The TPU mount was an extra 6 grams. So with an additional 32 grams of weight, those Zing 1504s still felt really good. So yeah, I can't wait to fly those without that extra fat boy weight on there, with just the Runcam hybrid on board. Marcel says the stickers hold up nicely. Awesome. Also, Marcel did a 5 Californian and Canadian dollars super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, can you help me find a frame for these Axis 2203 2910 kV motors I bought by accident? 2203, so that's going to crank a 4-inch prop. So maybe like the 4-inch. So I would do like a 4-inch Apex Micro, or a Cinewhoop. Those would be good for a 4S Cinewhoop, like the Cinesplore, actually. So there's two completely polar opposite options for you. Frank Nicholas says, IPS is in plane switching, wide viewing angle. Ah, very cool. Remy Tim's in the house. He says, don't you want the charger to bug you to pull the done batteries off so they don't die just sitting there? Usually the chargers will trickle charge them so that they don't die when they're sitting there. This one is not trickle charging, but I think that's because I hit the button. You okay, buddy? Hang on. Throwing up? Nope, you're not throwing up. You're playing with the paper. All right. There's a bag of screws on the ground. I have no idea why. You are throwing up. You okay, buddy? Good? Okay. You ready to throw up? anymore. If you don't mind. Why do you keep doing that every time I walk away? I'll be alright. What was I saying? Josh Robinson says XT60 or 30 for 3.5 and smaller. XT30, the easiest way to tell, Josh, is to take a rig off, zip it around, and then touch the XT30 or XT60 and make sure it's not hot. I have not felt an XT30 get hot. So yeah. Ramdonko says 3016/3028 3-inch. Depends. 3016 is really only for like a toothpick, low thrust applications. 3028 is for like 150 plus gram 3-inch rig. But to be honest, instead of the 3028, you want to go with the DAL. Oh, the DAL is a 3028. That's right. Yeah, DAL 3028. Okay. So, hey, Brandon, I sent you another log with a couple changes that I made. I was only able to just fly it in the house, but it's I'm just changing the throttle to see if we can find what the hell is going on with that 85 hertz weirdness. Richard says my floors are mostly tile. My cat will puke on the one mat in front of my room. Yeah, they do that. So since we're not doing Cinesplore things, I'm gonna change the name of the stream. FPV Cycle Cinesplore discussion. Sure. And I also took one more log where I took the antenna and I tucked it down. So I have one more log on here where we, you know what, I'll throw it on the laptop real quick. Because this, you know, I realized that this, I actually didn't have, I was telling you, I thought that I had a zip tie shrimp wrapped on this antenna, and I don't. So that 85 hertz thing could be this antenna. If it is, I have a log on the rig right now that will confirm or deny that. I would love if we could do that real quick, because I feel like Chris Rosser is the only one that's really seen that antenna issue, and it would be kind of cool to for us to see that the you know, the antenna really can. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to like doubt Rosser. But at the same time, like, it would be cool to specifically see that happen, you know what I mean? So I just turned on storage mode. Beta FLT is now on the hard drive. So I'm doing this on the laptop real quick here, boys and girls. Beta Flight 2 BBL. Alright, so that's transferring. There it goes. And O2, upload, antenna, tied down. Antenna tied down in O2. Awesome. Thank you, Brandon. Very, very cool of you. At some point, I'm going to beat Brandon into doing tuning, charging money and helping people tune, because there aren't many people doing that, and it's a really valuable thing. So yeah, if you need some one-on-one tuning done, message Brandon and be like, yo, I'll give you $80 an hour to help me tune. And then he'll be like, oh, all right. And then I'll help you tune. He really, really, really knows what he's doing. So yeah, do that. Help me, help him, help you. That log though, Brandon, both of those logs, so I'm just flying in the house, in the living room, and all I'm doing is raising and lowering the throttle as slowly as I possibly can, to try to figure out where this weird harmonic is. So there's no flips, there's no rolls, there's no full throttle, but yeah, hopefully I did enough for us to try to figure out. So the backstory here is that on one of these Cinesplores, on the backup Cinesplore, which is this blue one here, you can hear like a resonance in the build when it's kind of hovering. I do have a couple brushed whoops, RAM. Brandon just messaged me. He says, I think I see the low throttle resonance at 325 hertz on this log. Interesting. Yeah, so there's this like harmonic resonance that you can just hear. You can just hear it with your ear. Yeah, I did the Niogel initially to try to help it out. Initially, it was like it was causing a mid-throttle oscillation, and it would like, and it would do all kinds of weird shit. Then I put Niogel on, that made it a little bit better. Then I don't know what else I don't know what I did at that point. But it's gotten like a little bit better with everything that I've done. The most recent thing that I did was switch the ESC out. I don't really know if, like, I did that for other reasons. I don't really think that did anything. But the problem is almost gone. The really weird thing is that my main Cinesplore, which is almost an identical build, doesn't do this. So that's a little weird. They do have different motors, though. There's a chance that this behavior started when I put these Axis 2004 motors on here. But I'm not totally sure. Brendan says, so weird. It is harmonics of the 85 hertz fundamental resonance. 85, then double that, becomes around 160, 170, I guess it would be. Then double that again. Is around 325 hertz. It's all from the 85 hertz. So either mess with the D-min max or P, or turn off D-min, but pitch seems to be okay, so maybe just mess with roll. Yeah, and it's all on roll, which is very interesting. So it sounds like, so I did make a little bit of an adjustment, Brandon, to the P and the D gains on roll. I forget what I did now, but yeah, it flies totally fine. It flies completely fine. The motors don't get hot. The battery life is fine. It's just this one weird thing that I'm like, you know, let me try to iron this out so that it's as good as it can be. I wonder if it's the motors. I do think that it definitely did start when I moved to these motors. Because previously I had this rig on the 1804s, the X-Nova 1804s, and it wasn't doing this at all on those motors. So you know what we will do tonight? We will move this rig over onto this is awesome. We're gonna move this rig over to the newbie drone, the newbie drone 2004 3100s. What time is it? 8:45. Yeah, we should have enough time to get through that. And yeah, that's an easy little swap, and that'll give us. And now I can change the name of the stream. Cinesplore motor swap. And this is actually really good because Newbie Drone is waiting for me to get back to them with feedback on these motors at the new higher KV. Brandon's Baked Bean says it's ringing at 85 hertz and you are hearing the next two harmonics of that frequency because RPM filters won't touch them. Interesting. Jerembu says squirt or terraplane, neither. FPV Cycle Cinesplore is a much better frame than both of those. It's a much better frame than the squirt, and that's been backed up by like 20 or 30 people now. Terraplane doesn't really make any sense to me. It's too big, it's too heavy, and the ducts are too fragile. The Terraplane is a Cinewoop that has like a very narrow use case, so to speak. Like, the Terraplane only makes any sense if you're flying around people that are traveling like 40 or 50 miles an hour. So like maybe like a motorcycle thing, but not, because they're gonna go faster than that. Terraplane doesn't really make much sense to me. I don't see a situation where you need prop guards at 40 or 50 miles an hour. And then I especially don't see the point to needing to having a rig with fragile prop guards at 40 or 50 miles an hour. Because the whole point of prop guards is to make it safe, but they're fragile, so they're going to break, and then the prop is going to hit the person. So you might as well just not even have them. Terraplane doesn't make any sense to me at all. GrizzFPV says, you may be right about the 250s. You may be right, my 250 is the same way. Had aero lights on it, put Axis Flying 2.4, and now I have issues. Come on now, really? What do you got going on, Grizz? The reason that I started thinking it could be these motors, let me see if I can get this close enough to the mic. Can you guys hear like the little like that the pitch? So when you spin a motor, it makes a little bit of like a noise. And the frequency, the sound, the pitch of that noise that the motor makes when I spin it by hand is the same pitch that I hear when this thing is hovering. Which leads me to believe that there's something about these motors that's kind of doing that. Also, when I spin the motor, I can feel vibrations going through the frame. And usually I can't. Could you guys hear that? I'm trying to spin it quietly so that you guys can just hear it. So now check this out, right? I'm gonna throw this battery on here. Oh, I can put one of these smaller batteries on, it's fine. Fuck that. I'll put this big battery on. So you heard that pitch, right? Yeah, right, Brandon? It's a resonance, right? Alright, so you guys heard that, right? Now you're gonna... This is gonna be harder because it's gonna be armed. But, Grizz, if you're still watching, tell me more about the issues that you're having on the Axis 2004s. Oh wait, before I do this, hold on. Let's listen to what the Brother Hobby VYs on this rig sound like. Ready? I was holding up to the camera. Did you guys catch that? I mean, there just kind of isn't a noise. Yeah, I mean, the noise is still there, but I gotta put it like right up to my ear. Brandon's Baked Beans says Nio gel under those motors. That's interesting. Make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Ricardo says ducted rigs seem to me that they have a tendency to self-level on Betaflight. How can I fight this? They shouldn't. Self-leveling should only be if you've got angle or horizon on. Yeah, they shouldn't be self-leveling. Athix says you have to have that race roop skills. Chris says my issue is it was smooth and amazing to fly. Now there's some weird wiggles in it and has a strange wobble sound. Interesting. The wiggles could be from vibrations getting in. Ramdanko says been hearing squirt favorably in a lot of chat, but looked at it not so keen. But don't quote me, boys, because I ain't seen shiz. My biggest problem with the squirt is it's a solid base plate, and that's just nuts. It's 2021. There should not be solid base plate frames being built. It's just stupid. It's just a stupid design, and it doesn't even perform as well. It performs worse from a resonance and vibration standpoint, and it's a nightmare if you break it. It's just stupid. And the duct setup on the Cinesplore is better than the squirt. It's similar, but there are better ducts available for the Cinesplore, in my opinion. Cinesplore is also lighter weight. A lot of benefits. Alright, so see if you guys can hear this. I don't really know if you're going to be able to hear this over the wind noise, but I'm going to try my best here. And this is going to blow my desk all over the goddamn place. Like, after I move it and the revs come back down, there you can kind of hear that same pitch, that same kind of noise. It's really hard. I don't think you guys can hear it. All the stuff that I've been doing has been making it a little bit better. Better. But it's still there. Again, the rig flies fine, the motors stay cool, so I'm tempted to just ignore it. But I'm not gonna ignore it. I'm gonna keep playing. I'm actually really glad that we're gonna swap these motors out. And let's see. Frank says he can hear it. Everything is tight. Rob Axelson says he can only hear the props. Yeah, it's because it's moving a bunch of air. So yeah, let's rip these motors off, slap the new motors on, and then I'll kill two birds with one stone in that I'll be able to give Newbie Drone their feedback, and this should give us I mean, unless these motors are also kind of vibey. Let me see. Nah, these are much better. I mean, I shouldn't say better. These are, I don't know, quieter, I guess, is what I should say. But yeah, let's just do it. This is kind of good. And plus, you know, it won't just be a chatting stream. We'll get some actual work done here. And if this doesn't help the problem, I'm going to move these axis motors over to the primary Cinewoop. But I don't know. I have a feeling, especially with Grizz saying that he's having some issues on these axis motors, I have a feeling that we may have found the issue, which will be pretty interesting. Come on, man, get up in there. Get in there, homie! There we go. What's up, Scott? Do those motors feel notchy, or are they worn, or bad bearings? What's the source of the sound they make you think? I think that the source of the sound is the cogginess. They're not a coggy motor. They do feel like they do feel smooth, but they're not as smooth. Like for example, right? So compared to the Brother Hobby VYs, when it see how it takes the propeller off of my finger. See that? Right? So it's like this isn't like really notchy, but compared to the Brother Hobby VYs, see how it takes it off my finger a little bit less? It's still every once in a while will. And you can also tell by the way it stops. That stops nice and smooth. That kind of does. Oh, you know what? Let's do the camera phone test. We'll do the 240 frames a second camera phone test. And I'll just I can actually spin them both, I think. So you guys can all do this at home. Take your phone, put it into slow-mo mode, and throw a bunch of light at it. You need a whole bunch of light, because it's gonna run the frame rate up really high. So then you just do a slow motion video, and you just push the prop. You're concerned about what it does when it stops spinning. So I'm gonna do it real quick here. Ready? I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1, and then spin the other. Oh no, this one. Oh, this is a hot mess. Let me do it again. And let me actually also put them both on a flat surface. Okay. Alright, so here we go. I'll do this sideways. And... Alright, 3, 2, 1. Alright, so now we can look at this high speed and we should be able to see a difference in... oh, fucker. I didn't hit stop quick enough. Or maybe I did. Really? I didn't hit start, I only hit stop? What a fucking boomer. Oh, what an asshole. One more time. God damn it. Oh, what a miserable boomer. Okay, let's try this again. Slow motion mode, 3, 2, 1. All right, that should be a good one. And then I'm just gonna do this. Just gonna go here, and I'm just gonna like kind of show you guys and talk over it. So I know this is gonna be hard to see, but I'm just gonna talk over it. All right, so I can. That was a good little flick on that last one there. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's that much more notchy. Oh, yes it is. Oh, yeah, that was a big one. Okay, hold on. Let me show this to you guys. So what you're looking for when you do this little notchiness test is the wiggle, let's just say. The wiggle... Man, this phone screen can suck my fat fucking ass. Come on, douchebag. There we go. There we go. Okay, Done, motherfucker. Okay. All right, so what you're looking for is the wiggle after the propeller stops spinning. That's really the dead giveaway. So that's what you're looking for. See how that stops nice and smooth? See that? It doesn't really wiggle after it stops. You got to do it multiple... There it is. That was the wiggle. That was a nice soft wiggle. Look at the difference. You can kind of see it there. There you go. That's what you don't want to see, that big of a wiggle. There it is. Look at that. See how it's bouncing back and forth like that? That is a much more coggy motor than the Brother Hobby. And yeah, so I think that's what we're dealing with. This is not Gorilla Glass. This is cheap douchebag Chinese fucking Ciotti got ripped off by a place called Gadget Zone glass that broke within a week. And then I dropped it. I dropped the phone again today, actually, on the linoleum in the bathroom from like 2 feet, and the screen broke again. So yeah, this screen is a huge piece of shit. I gotta get this phone to an authorized repair center for them to put a proper screen and home button on it. But I digress. We live and we learn. Yeah, let's get these Newbie Drone flow motors on this backup rig. But first, let me get caught up on the chat. Scott Gillen says, what's up? FPV Trucker says, you just like the Cinesplore because it's cheap. That is another big selling point. The V3 and the 149 ducts are impossible to buy. V3 what? FPV Trucker. CH3F1 says, how much tilt on that TPU? This blue mount is 15 degrees. This purple mount is 5. Rob Oxen says, I always thought that meant strong magnets. It can mean a number of different things. I'm not going to dive into it, but yeah, it can certainly mean strong magnets, absolutely. But it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to mean strong magnets. Usually it does. Scott Gillen says, I need some help. Think I'm addicted. A little extra money to help, so bought another glide frame T-motor stack. Help me. I can't help, man. Michael Blade says, what's up? And I'm caught up. The wiggle on the notch. Sounds like a bad porno. Or a good porno. Depends on... Scott Gillen with a $10 super chat. He says, free money, passing along some wealth for your brainwave stuff. Thank you so much, dude. Much appreciated, Scott. Everybody go subscribe to Scott or I'll kill you in a fire. I don't know how, but I'll find a way. Hey, these low-profile ducts, man. Whoo! This thing hauls ass. Like, it's it really boogies with these low-profile ducts. I was pretty shocked at the difference, and it flies less like a Cinewoop, which is funny, and also makes total sense at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I guess I mean, I'm now second guessing changing these motors out. The vibrations that we've got are not severe, and they're not heating up the motors. It's just like kind of like annoying, I guess. I guess that's the only real problem. But see, like, what I'm afraid of is that it's going to get worse, or like if I'm on a job and like I bang a prop up or something like that it's gonna get worse. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't feel good. And I mean it's making vibrations, and vibrations are bad for really crispy footage. So like what I really like about these motors though is the KV. They're a better KV than any other 2004 out there. So yeah, I'm very torn here. What I'm gonna do though is I'll pull them off of here. We'll put the Newbie Drone flow motors on, and then this is like the backup rig anyway. So for the backup rig to have the less fancy motor, like I'm fine with that, right? And then if I want to go down, and then at that point I can either put these motors onto the main one. So I want to get the motors off of the main Cinesplore because it's on the Brother Hobby VY 2004s, which are having shaft slipping issues. You know what? The problem is definitely the motors. Because I had this rig on the FPV cycle motors, and it was totally fine. All these problems started when I put these motors on. So the problem is the motors. The problem is the motors. Yeah. This is going to go away when I swap these motors off. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I'm going to be very tempted to try these motors again. Very, very tempted because of the KV. Rob Axelson says, according to USPS, package is in transit. Very cool, brother. Much appreciated. Brandon says, you can always try logging dmin on debug mode. I'm not super up to speed on reading dmin logs, but I'm sure I could make some sense of it if we needed to. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the degain values. It sucks things up. It doesn't prop wash. It's just this harmonic that makes me nervous. It just, you know, it doesn't feel like it's a totally smooth, totally healthy rig. And to be honest, I don't want this harmonic. I don't want the chance that this weird harmonic is going to cause some weird jello in footage at an event that's like a one-time only thing. You know? Like that's a total nightmare. So I'm thinking that these Axis 2004s can just kind of go to hell. Even though they're the best KV, it seems like maybe they're just a little too coggy. Really cool that we're potentially getting to see very specifically the problems with coggy motors, because I've caught a lot of shit from Crunked for saying that coggy motors are bad. And he's had zero data to back his side of the argument up. And I've got a bunch of data to back my side of it up. And this is just going to be another little chunk of I mean, this will be the like, I mean, shit, this will be kind of like fully damning. I've never had like black box logs to show it like this. Identical rig, same everything, back to back. This will potentially be a very one-to-one data, like, you know, controlled sort of thing to show the problem with Nachi and Kagi motors. So this is kind of cool. I'm kind of excited about this. Josh Robinson says, yesterday was my first time flying around a GoPro. Here and I'm black, split as a tree. Came back right side up, went to split, the quad went wacko. Tried to get it to reproduce and couldn't, but kind of freaked me out. Any ideas what could have been? Wacko is not quite enough for me to go off of. try to put into words a little bit better than that, like what happened. Did you lose video? Did it like drop an arm? Like, did one side of the quad drop? Did the whole thing lose power? Yeah, give me a little bit more info as to what wacko means. Because my idea of wacko could be totally different than yours. Brandon says, still think we could tune D-Min on roll to see if we can narrow down the range it works to prevent this from happening. Interesting. So I did, okay, so that's one of the changes that I made on that, between the log that you're talking me through, Brandon, and the one that I flew in the living room. Hey, by the way, Brandon, any difference between those two logs where I tucked the antenna up? The very last log that I sent you has the antenna tucked, and then the log before that is the antenna waggling. Well, maybe waggling, I don't know. I was kind of hoping the problem was the antenna, if I'm completely honest. Oh, that's why it keeps going to low up tilt. Okay. Move this camera up. Oh. 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 There we go. Okay, so let's get some flux on these solder joints, pop these motors off, and then we'll put the new ones on, and we'll see what's what. But, yeah, these motors are the issue. This issue is going to go away when I swap these motors, unless the motors that I'm swapping on have the same issue, which I doubt. Should have removed the motor screws. Come on. Get off of there. Nope. I gotta get a replacement set of WeHot drivers. The 1.5 mil, the M1.5 driver is fucked. It's just rounded off. I've been using that driver for like 20 years now. I used to use that driver all the time on airsoft guns. They have a lot of M1.5 screws on them. When I used to run the shop. Alright. This will just make it easier for me to pull the wires off the pads, having these motor screws off ahead of time. Ah, come on, come out of there, you jerk. You filthy animal. Alright. Lit Sculpture says, thoughts on tri-blade versus 5-blade props on Cinesplore. Tri-blade props are going to be less thrusty, less tri-blade props are louder. They should be a little bit more efficient. They should PID tune a little bit better because they're lighter, but they're not going to have as much thrust. The main reason that I run 5 blades is because they're so much quieter. Cinesplores are already loud enough that when flying around talent, the talent gets nervous. And so, and you can't really perform well if you're nervous. So it's, in my opinion, the volume, anything to reduce the sound level of the rig is a really good thing if you're going to be flying in like any kind of a professional situation where you're going to have actors. And I have found myself in a bunch of those situations over the last 6 months. So yeah, I really like the 5 blades. Plus they make really good thrust. It's nice that they make such good thrust. The tri-blades, there really aren't motors. Like, these axis motors are the only ones that have enough kV for the tri-blade motors to have really good power. I'm sorry, the tri-blade props to have really good power. So let me do this little test by hand. You know, it's interesting. These don't really feel that notchy. But I mean, there is a cogginess to them. Man, these newbie motors feel pretty much identical. I'll be really interested to see if they're any better. All right. Come on. Really? You're gonna fuck me like that? Get out of here. Ooh, the other thing that I was gonna do, if I don't do this now, I'm gonna forget to do it. I took 120 frame. So you guys probably know by now that I typically don't do much with black box. I tune by sound and by motor heat and by feel and shit like that. One of the other ways that you can... Fuck you. Hold on, I gotta restart OBS. Should be back. One of the things that you can do to check your tune without black box... I have a lot of rigs that are on old flight controllers that don't have black box. Is to put an HD camera on it in 120 frames a second. So that's what I did. So one of those logs that I sent to Brandon, this is actually the first log that I sent to Brandon. So this is at 1/4 speed, 120 frames a second. And we're just going to look for bad behaviors. We're going to look for like little twitches and stuff like that. You guys are going to probably have a hard time seeing that because YouTube is going to just murder the quality here. But I'm just kind of looking to see if it's smooth. Everything looks smooth so far. So there's coming off the throttle. So there is a little bobble when I come off the throttle. This is on 4.2. This is not on 4.3. There's a chance that the better anti-gravity in 4.3 will help this little bobble. Little tiny bobble when I jump off the throttle. Not too bad. So here comes a roll. And now we're kind of looking for bounce back on that roll. Man, that's too far of a skip back. Can I change that in preferences? Key bindings. Seek backwards 5 seconds. No real bounce back, right? Couldn't really see much, if any, bounce back. And roll is where I'm having the issue. So everything's fine on roll. Ready? Here's a bounce back, though. Did you see it? See that big soft bounce? Well, it's soft because it's in 1/4 speed. I need to add a little bit of authority on the pitch axis of this rig. Or not, because it's a Cinewhoop. I mean, you don't really need to have a Cinewhoop tune absolutely dialed. So this is me just pumping the throttle up and down, and you can see it's holding its pitch axis really, really well. It's not nosing up or nosing down when I come on and off the throttle. So that's good. Let me fast forward a little bit here. I mean, this is what the tune on this is really good. Like, this is what a really good tune looks like. It's not wobbling around. It's not doing random weird shit. There was a bounce back, though. There was definitely a bounce back there. Which, technically, that could have been me on the sticks. Sometimes I'll, like, let go of the stick and it'll bounce back to center. But I doubt it. That looks like... Yeah, there's a little bounce back there, for sure. But, I mean, we don't do snap rolls on Cinewhoops that much, so I'm not super concerned, Matt. There was not much bounce back there. There was a little tiny bobble, though, when I picked the throttle back up. Man, is that nice and soft. Maybe I don't need more authority on the pitch axis. It looks fine on those two front and back flips. And then just looking for smoothness here. No weirdness yet. So yeah, this is just another tool in your arsenal of tuning these damn things without black box. If you have a way of running 60 or better yet 120, even better yet 240 frames per second on the rig, if you watch it back in ultra slow motion, you can see a lot of the bad behaviors and start to try to figure out what the hell's causing them. Where was I on chat? Off Axis says, so axis motors suck? No, they don't. These motors, you know, if we do figure out that they are a little too notchy for a Cinewhoop, that just means you should run them on a non-Cinewhoop. Although, to be honest, as you just saw, the tune flies, I mean, the rig flies great with these motors. There's just this one little weird thing that I'm trying to figure out. And I'm probably being overly sensitive to this. I should probably not do any of this and just let it have this little harmonic. But that makes me want to, the thought of that makes me want to vomit, so can't do that. But yeah. The wire going across the top of the flight controller is not touching. It is 2 millimeters, let's say, away from the gyro chip, but it's not touching it, and yeah, it's also not carrying VBAT. It's only carrying 5 volts to the crossfire receiver. So yeah, it's not having any kind of an impact on the gyro itself. Let's keep popping these motors off. Brandon says, nothing substantial. I just double checked between tucked and not tucked. Very cool. So we do not have an example of an antenna causing bad shit. June Loco says, how do you like your AIO quad? I hate it. It's awful. It flies terrible. The 250 went from the best flying micro I've ever built to, at the current moment with the AIO in it, it flies like every other fucked up micro that I've ever built. Most of which have had AIOs in them, so it really sucks. JT says, run 3-inch, 3.5, 8-blade props on my 250 and it's practically silent. Very cool. Remy Tim says, wouldn't adding a notch filter help with this frequency if you're looking at software fixes? So the only problem with doing that is if you put a notch at 85 hertz, there's anything less than 100 hertz can potentially be quad motion. Like commanded quad motion. So I would be really worried to put a notch filter at 85 because if I got the rig spinning at 85 hertz, it would filter out. I don't know what would happen, but it's from what I've read, seen, heard, whatever. It's not a good idea to put any filters below 100 hertz. If you've got shit going on below 100 hertz, you need to attack the mechanical system rather than doing software fixes. And just, I mean, you guys know how I tune. I spend most of my time like mechanical tuning rather than software tuning. So I wouldn't just do that. I would continue to swap parts, swap sacks, you know. I'm glad that the antenna's not causing a problem. That's cool. That means I don't have to change the way that it's mounted. But yeah, it's starting to feel pretty clear to me, thinking about when this weird harmonic thing started, that the issue is these axis motors. So now we've got some prototype newbie drone Flow 2004s that we're going to trim down, strip, tin, and zap onto this rig to see how they are. CMYK FPV is in the house. What's up, brother? Ramdanko says, smiles. Smiles for miles. Brandon's Baked Bean says, I would ditch the D-term slider and stick with 1 or 2 static D-term cutoffs to help with that low throttle slow bobble. Interesting. I could give you a D-term filter setup that might help the low throttle. And then he says, we're not going to see the 85 hertz on roll in video, though. Interesting. Ramdanko says, looks like gimbal. Yeah, you know, the tune is great. The tune is great. The rig is great. Everything flies great, but there's just this one weird little thing that I'm being nuts. William Loesch says, what did you dip your soldering iron tip into? This is soldering iron tip reconditioner. You can get it on Amazon. You won't get this exact one, but if you just go to Amazon and type in like soldering iron tip reconditioner, you'll find it. It's good stuff. William Loach says, also, is that a TBS 69? It is not. I've heard terrible things about the TBS 69. This is a Rush 20x20 VTX, and then there's a Crossfire Nano right underneath of it. I am not a fan of combining... I'm not a fan of combining electronics when one of the electronics that you're combining has a tendency to fail, i.e. VTXs. VTXs fail pretty frequently, if we're honest here, right? Like VTXs are not the most durable things in the world. So, you know, if I'm gonna have a VTX, I want that thing to be totally separate, so that when it fails, I can just replace it. So the 69 goes and just, you know, gives that whole philosophy the big middle finger. Not to mention that I've yet to hear anyone say that they've had a good experience with the 69. All I've ever heard people say is they don't like having their nose in their wife or girlfriend's butthole. No, I mean, what I meant to say was, all I've heard is people having issues with them. Noise issues, setup issues, just weird shit. So yeah, I have no interest in the 69. David says, when are your VTXs blowing out? Typically after, I don't know, a couple of hundred batteries, 200, 300, 400 batteries. VTXs have a tendency to just kind of start losing power. TBS VTXs are definitely the worst offenders. They seem, it feels like with TBS VTXs, and I've heard this from multiple people, and this is something that Patrick said to me that made so much sense. It feels like every time you plug in a quad with a TBS VTX, it's you're using up like 5 milliwatts, and like you get like 5 less milliwatts, and then 5 less milliwatts, and then 5 less milliwatts, and eventually it's just not great. But yeah, it takes a while for that to kind of set in. And, you know, during that time period, you're crashing the rig and you're smashing it. And like, so on one hand, it's kind of like, well, what the hell do you expect? The answer to what the hell do you expect is, I expect them since they're so expensive, and since they're from, you know, the company that really TBS has a tendency to kind of like talk down about everybody else, and like, you know, there's this air of like everything that we make is the best, right? Well, I've had so much of a better experience from Rush and Immersion RC VTXs. It's kind of ridiculous. And so yeah, I've not had that same experience with Immersion RC Tramps or Immersion RC Tramp Nanos or Rush Tank VTXs. I have had that experience with AKK VTXs, which kind of makes me wonder if TBS is having their VTXs made by AKK, but I really doubt that. I really, really, really doubt that, for the record. But yeah, that's those are sort of the longevity issues that I've had with specifically TBS VTXs, but also AKK VTXs, and just in some cases VTXs in general. You know, they get really hot. We're running them at like 1,000,000 gigawatts. We're getting our shit stuck up in trees. You know, like there's situations where a VTX is going to take abuse. And there are VTXs out there that seem to take that abuse a lot better than others. And in my experience, those are VTXs made by Immersion RC and by Rush Tank. I guess the company is just called Rush. The name of the VTX is the tank. And I've also never experienced like I've never experienced like the TBS VTXs looking any better or anything like that. Like, I don't know. They just, for me, they just seem to be more expensive so that TBS can make more money. And I could be totally wrong about that, or maybe I'm not. All right, let's get this guy tinned up. And throw it on that arm. Okay, it's looking good. I wonder which arm I measured this one on. I think it was maybe this rear arm. No, it was not. Was it this front one? No, it was not. Was it one of these? No. Shit. Why are these wires so long? What the hell happened here? I'm gonna put it on this one. This one's the shortest. Alright, let me get this one done and then I'll check on the chat. Actually, no, I'm looking at the chat now. Haveboard says, checking in on chat. What's up? What's going on, Haveboard? Ram Dunko says, I learned today pics to tweet FPV of my triple fail. Oops. CiottiFPV, I believe it was high voltage. What are you talking about, Ram? Oh, pop the VTX and the camera. Positive, negative wires left the effort. What the hell? What happened, Ram? I'm confused. Need to tin this. There we go. Might be able to get all three of these by hand, but I'm kind of a maniac about soldering, so I will use the tweezers to do it properly. And motor number 2 is finished. looks like I didn't cut them too long. All right, cool. Threw a couple of screws in this guy. I don't know why I'm doing this all over the place like this, but whatever. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. Oh man, this is gonna... I should have cut these motor wires a little shorter. Oh god, that looks terrible. That is so crammed in there. Hold on. Jesus. Will that clear that? Not really. Am I really gonna have to pull this fucking motor off and redo this? Please don't make me do that. Please don't make me do that. Please don't make me have to do that. I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I cut these motor wires just a little bit too short, or too long rather. Nah, you know what? Fuck it, it's fine. They can be under a little bit of stress. It's just a Cinewhoop. It's not gonna get bashed. It'll be fine. Unless it isn't. God damn it, come on. I'll get the other three right. You know? I got 2 screws in. Let me look at it. Oh no, this is okay. This is okay. Yeah. They're a little bit under pressure, but it's not too bad. Okay. It's so funny without the ducts on, this frame is like so small. Like the arms are so skinny and it's really lightweight. So this is a really impressive frame. I really, really, really like this Cinesplore. It has meat in like every little spot where it would possibly need meat, but then it's got no meat in all the spots where it doesn't need meat. It's really yeah, I really, really dig this frame. Okay, so that should be the right length for these motor wires now. Okay. Ram says VBAT for a higher VTX 800, then quick swap to a max 200. Never did seen a screen. Can you smell smoke? Grizz FPV says, I feel you on the TBS VTX. I have one on Primo 3 and on Twig Tank. Bought the one. Twig Tank doesn't have the same range as the one on my Primo 3 and the VTX Unify Pro 32 Nano. Yeah, I've had a terrible time with the Pro 32 Nanos. There was a little while where they were the only nano receiver VTX available, and they were just not durable. They were letting go pretty quick, and then the Eachine Nano VTX came out for like 1/3 the price, and just absolutely blew it away in performance as well. And I've kind of never looked back. Yeah, and now there's the Eachine Nano V2, which is even better and has a microphone built in. And it's like, why would anyone buy a Pro 32 Nano when the Eachine Nano is so much better in so many ways? It's wild. Here we go. Motor number 1. Get this done. I went to a katsu place last week rather, and I got pork katsu, which was really good. but then it came with this sauce, and the sauce smelled like soldering. Like the soldering smell that just hit me in the face smelled exactly like that katsu sauce, and it was like kind of making me sick to my stomach a little bit. It's really weird. It's a really weird moment. I've never had anything like that happen to me before, with like a smell that was so out of place. It's really interesting. Up until that point, the smell of soldering, which is basically the smell of flux vaporizing, I believe that's the majority of the smell that we're smelling. I'd never smelled that anywhere. It's like it's a pretty unique, specific smell. Unique New York. Unique New York. So yeah, that was weird. It was a weird experience there. I'm hoping Brandon's going to be around for another like 15, 20 minutes so I can knock this out, do a quick log in the living room, and then send it to him. It would be really cool if like during the course of this stream, if you got to go, Brandon, definitely go though. Don't like, but it would be super cool if during the course of this stream, we could get feedback on these motors. You know what I mean? But again, Brandon, if you got to go, obviously go. You don't need me to tell you that, but don't let me. This is not me guilt tripping. This is just me talking out loud. Okay. Pork and cat soup. No. Katsu. Katsu. It's I think it's a specific form of like frying. Or I don't know. It's like a tempura-ish frying procedure. I think. I could totally be wrong. I'd heard of katsu before, but I'd never got it, and I'd never like looked it up or like seen it on a cooking show that I watch. So I was going in kind of blind. But the katsu was great. It was just the sauce that they gave me that was strange. Weird experience. Do you remember if this was the motor on the front of the rig or on the back, by chance? Anybody? I think it was motor 4. I think it was the motor on the front. Although all 4 of these race wires are in pretty much the same position, so it shouldn't really matter all that much. I'm going to put it on the one in the front. I'm pretty sure that's where I measured it on. Okay. Go, 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 go. I'm heading to Maggie's tonight to spend the night, and I'm gonna go with her tomorrow to sit in on one of her classes, which will be super cool. I'll get to see her teach. I'm really looking forward to that. It feels really good to like have this live stream and like do the instruction stuff with, you know, flying and building and all that shit. Like it feels really good to like kind of teach you guys things, but like I'm not really a teacher. But like I've done a bunch of instruction over the years, back with motorsports, and now, you know, I mean, I guess you could kind of call this live stream like pretty teachy, instruction-y, you know. But she's like a proper teacher, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. she gets to connect with them college youths one-on-one, basically, and quite literally change lives. And I'm so like blown away by that. It's so amazing, man. Like, teachers in general, you know, like, they work their asses off, they get shit on all the time, and yet they keep doing it. And yeah, it's just rad. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's gonna be really, really fun. Maybe she's even listening right now. You never know. If she is, maybe she'll grace you guys with her presence in the chat and say, "Hi." Nice, Scott. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. God damn right I am. God damn right I am. All right, there we go. Let's get another couple screws in here, and then we'll throw the last motor on, and I'm going to, as quickly as I can, get it up in the air and get a little test hover on, run the black box log. I see Brandon in the chat, so maybe I can get the log over to him quick enough for him to see if that weird 85 hertz resonance is still there. But I've got a little bit more work to do before that happens. Okay. There we go. Very hot for very hot teacher, my friends. A couple of you guys in chat have probably gotten to see Maggie. She was on, she did a little guest appearance on one of the streams 2 weeks ago, I think. On a Wednesday, maybe? I don't remember. But yeah, she was hanging out here, getting some work done. And popped her head in, which was very cool. I'm always, I always assume that nobody wants their face plastered all over the internet forever. So I always just kind of assume that nobody wants to be on camera during the live streams. So like if Patrick's here hanging out or whatever, like I'm never like, yo, come hang out in here. I always just kind of like let people, you know, somebody's hanging out over here and I'm streaming, they know that I'm streaming. So if they want to be on the stream, they can come be on the stream. But I'm never gonna like, yeah, I try to not like browbeat anybody into that, because, you know, privacy on the internet is a thing that you shouldn't take for granted. Some people just don't want it, and that's okay. They're probably smarter than I am. As in, like, it's probably smarter to not plaster your face all over the internet. But what fun is that? Last motor, here we go. This went quicker than I thought. But I mean, this is the beauty of the race wires right here. A motor swap like this, so quick and easy. Trying to do this at the ESC would have been way more annoying. Always is. Always is. Anybody that's run race wires knows exactly what I'm talking about. It just makes motor swaps a joke. And along those lines, like, it makes you much more willing to swap motors. Like, I probably wouldn't have done this motor swap tonight if I didn't have these race wires on here. Or in this case, race LEDs. It just makes it feel like a lot less work It is less work. I wouldn't say it's a lot less work, but it makes it feel like a lot less work. So you're like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. The big thing that I love is that it makes motor swaps away from your bench a lot easier. A lot easier. That's the big thing for me. Let me check that last joint. It's not... It's fine. It's that first one that I'm worried about. I thought that first joint looked a little weird. Let me just fix that real quick. And then we'll be done. If it ain't perfect, it ain't done. Come on, melt. This solder joint is being a real dick bird. There we are. Let's see if I cut the motor too short. There's a good chance that I did. No, it's perfect. It's actually the best one. And there are the motor screws. Let's zip them on in. We'll put the ducts back on. Hey, Brandon, the other change between those last two logs that I sent you is in those last two logs, there's no GoPro on the rig. So I'm going to make sure that I put the GoPro back on it for this log I'm about to send you. Unless you tell me not to, unless you don't want me to. If you want a one-to-one comparison, just let me know. Actually, that sounds like a better idea. Because we're... No, I don't think it's going to matter. Come to think of it. It will matter because it's going to change the... it's going to change the hovering RPM. But I was very specifically trying to rack the throttle up and down and up and down and up and down to give data at all different throttle values. So what do you think, Brandon? Whatever you tell me to do, I'll do. I don't really feel like it matters. Because I'm gonna have to just hover it up and down in the living room again. And I'm just gonna do the same thing again where I just move the throttle up and down and up and down and up and down. As a reminder, December is going to be a big month over on Patreon. A bunch of full builds are going to be given away. So make sure you join the Patreon as soon as you can so that you don't miss it. And if you're on the $3 tier, maybe think about jumping up to the $5 or the $10 or the $20 tiers so that you can get into those giveaways. Because what I'm thinking that I'm going to do for the full build giveaways is instead of doing the individual giveaways, combine them into one big giveaway. So by being on the $5 tier, you're going to get entered once. Oh, that's something that I need to figure out. I guess $5 tier is weighted as once. Yeah, I gotta actually think through that a little bit better as to how I'm gonna keep the basically I want it to be like $5 per entry, so to speak, but then that becomes a little bit weird with the way that I was previously thinking about doing it, but that's okay. I'll just have to think of a new way of doing it. Oh, you know what? It's actually really easy. When I do the last drawing, I just put the $10 tier winner on there twice, the $20 winner on there 4 times, and that's it. Yeah, okay, so that's easy. That's super easy. And then that'll also take care of the higher tier folks as well, because they could potentially win. Yeah, they'll be entered the same number of times, or will they? Or will they? I gotta think about it. But I'll come up with a good way of doing it. I always do. Look at the big brain on Brad. Family Guyver says she was sweet. Gave you a really nice hug. Good catch. I agree, man. I agree. I'm very, very lucky. Very, very, very lucky. Man, yeah. Didn't know it could be like this, guys. Really didn't. And, you know, she's got 2 kids, which is, like, a big change for me. But, like, weirdly, I'm more excited than anything else. Which is crazy. But I love that. I love that that's, like, my natural reaction to it. Because that says a lot. And they're amazing. Like, they're both, like, so cool. And, like, I've gotten to know them a little bit, and I'm just like, yeah, man. I feel like I can add some good to these little mini humans' lives. And I really, really look forward to that. Like, that's... I feel like I already have in a few situations, and, like, it's felt so good. And, yeah, I know that there's the other side of things with frustration and teenagers being teenagers, but, you know, it's pretty much everything in life. Everything in life that's really good tends to also have the chance of being really challenging. And I'm not gonna shy away from that. I'm gonna put myself out there and, yeah, see how it goes. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm sure it'll be hard as hell, but hey, man, every hard as hell thing that I've done in life, that I've really, like, cared about and put effort into, has also been really, really good. So why would this be any different? Ducts are on, propellers are going on, and then we're gonna test hover. Alright, get in there. Get in there, little fella. Oh, I hope these motors spin the same direction. Come on, please spin the same direction, motors. Don't make me go into goddamn BL Heli. Oh, I hope these spin the right directions. Oh, please. Ramdanko says Patreons. Could live audio chat along for half with Discord equals live help friend chat part? I'm not sure what the question is there, Ram. But there, in the Discord, there are chat rooms that you guys are always free to use. There's voice chat rooms. And if you guys are ever on the Discord and you see somebody in the voice chat room, get your ass in there and say hello to them. That's a really cool part of Discord that I never use, but I've always thought, hey, that's pretty fucking cool. I kind of forget that it exists, that part of Discord exists, if I'm honest. I always think of it as just typing. All right, there we go. Brandon, yes or no on... Oh, he's not in here anymore, I don't think. I'm going to put the... 661 says RDQ has 0802 25,000 Unibells back in stock. Lightest, stronger... 661, do me a favor. Copy and paste the name of that motor so I can put it on the... and I'll put a link. I'll search for it, and then I'll put a link to it. I'm gonna do this test without the GoPro so that it's identical to the last black box log file that I sent. Just in case. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's the move here. So the ducts are tight, the motors are tight, the props are tight. That's all I changed. I didn't change anything else here. I'm going to mount the battery as far back as I had it. Oh, interesting. This is going to be a very ass-heavy rig. Doesn't really matter for the testing that we're doing. All right. Hopefully it doesn't explode when I plug it in. Hey, it didn't explode. The next big hope is that the motors are going to spin the right direction when I arm this damn thing. And let's see.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Oh, that would be so nice. Come on, please. Please, please. Please spin the correct direction. Please. Wow, nope. Damn it. Oh! Okay. Let's do this as quick as we can. I'm actually going to leave it plugged in. I'm going to hook this little 90-degree jib-jab up. Where's the goddamn cable?
Low battery.
There it is. Low battery. I know. Okay. Plugging in. All four of them are probably spinning the wrong direction. So I'm just going to reverse all four. There's really no reason that they shouldn't all four be spinning in the wrong direction here. So we're going to go to BL Heli 32 and connect. Shut up!
Receiver is still connected.
I know, it's okay. It's going to be fine, little buddy. And then we're going to check. And motor 1, we're going to go to reversed. Rate setup. Motor 2. We're going to go to normal. Rate setup. Motor 3. We're going to go to normal. Rate setup. Motor 4. We're going to go from reverse to normal. Rate setup. And disconnect. Hopefully, all is right with the world. I am going to be very shocked if there's like one motor still spinning the wrong direction. But let's see.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Yay! So one of these motors is clearancing itself. Let me do the log. I can still hear the resonance. All right, got the log done. It's on there. Good to go. We'll see if that's any better. I don't think Brandon's in here anymore. I think we lost Brandon, which is totally fine. He's been a huge help already. Cool. All right, so we've got new motors on here. They seem fine. I mean, it's hard to tell. Just bouncing it up and down in the in the living room. But hey, there's Brandon. Is the resonance a prop rubbing an out of round duct? It is not. Although in that log, there's probably going to be some extra garbage from that prop rubbing. Although it seems to have rubbed itself in, so it's good. But yeah, no, this problem has been here on 3 different sets of props. No, 2 different sets of props. But one of them is the cloud, or the cloud prop ducts. I meant not props, ducts. I meant to say, and the cloud ducts are they're not out of round, and there's never any rubbing. All right, Brandon, I got a log coming at you. If you're reviewing footage, I'm gonna just assume that you're willing to take a quick look at this log to see if it's any better or worse. But what I can say is that I can still hear it, and the Brother Hobby VY motors are definitely less coggy than both these Axis and these newbie drones. So maybe at this point I'm just going to end up buying a bunch of the Brother Hobby VYs, and I'll just have a bunch of extras. Like I'll just buy a dozen of the goddamn things, and then as the shafts slip, I will I'll just replace them, because I don't want this nonsense. I don't want a rig that I'm going to use for work to have any weirdness like this. All right, Brandon, coming at you over on Discord. BF005. Beta Flight 005 uploading. NBD 2004s. You know what I do need to do is go into Beta Flight and turn the throttle limiting up. I have this set at 90% throttle scaling because, yeah, I am boycotting Brother Hobby. But, God damn it. So if I want to continue my Brother Hobby boycott, I need to find another set of 2004s that's high enough kV, that's more than 3000 kV, and cross my fingers that they're as smooth. So I'm going to move the motor output limit back up to 100% now that I'm on these newbie drone motors. That would explain why these felt a little bit, just blipping it up and down, it felt a little bit less than the Brother Hobby motors, which are the same kV. All right, now I'm going to erase these black boxes. So there's that. It's 10:10. I got to wrap this up and get my ass on the road. But this erase is in progress. Let me take the voltage on this battery to make sure I'm not over discharging it. And oh, I got a couple batteries on the charger, but they're batteries that I don't know the internal resistance is on. Okay, this battery's done. 3.7 per cell. Great. So I will put this back here. And this guy needs to get discharged, so does this guy. Well, that was a goddamn waste of time. I was specifically charging these batteries to find out the internal resistances, and then I fucked up. That's okay, though. Story of my life. Cool. Basically, no change to the area of interest at 85 hertz. All right. Well, well, what's up, Paulie Lee? Quadzimoto says, why not 2203? Going from a 3 millimeter tall stator to a 4 millimeter tall stator is a 25% increase. And yeah, the vertical part of the stator does the majority of the work. The vertical part of the windings, the way that the windings go around each stator pole is like this, basically. The vertical parts of the windings do all of the work. The horizontal parts don't do any of the work. As you raise the height of the stator, you get more of the vertical part of the winding that's doing the work. So you get more power per weight. Whereas when you increase the diameter of the stator, you add the ratio is the other way around. You don't get as much of an increase in power as you do with the increase in weight. So what I would actually really like is like an 1805 or maybe a 2004 is perfect for me. I love the way the 2004 motors fly on these Cinewhoops. So I don't need anything more than 2004. But I would love to try a smooth running 1805. So it's not torque ram. We thought it was, but electric motors don't necessarily work that way. Electric motors make more torque by having more stator volume. And the stator volume is a combination of the height and the width. Basically, I try to run like there, and then before I go there, there's the other thing. There's a ratio that of the width to the height that Chris Rosser has talked about a couple times, and he seems to think that the ratio should be a ratio of 3. So the stator height should triple to give you the stator width. And yeah, a 2004 is closer to that ratio than 2203. But I could be wrong. $3B0802. All right. I gotta. Brandon, hey, thank you a million times. Must be a product of the frame or the PID tune. I still think less D-term on roll. Okay, so that's the last thing that I'll do. I'll turn the D-term down on roll. PID tuning. No change in the area of interest. The other, well, to be continued. We'll continue this next Wednesday on this Cinewhoop with the smoother motors. I don't get any of this nonsense, and it's the same frame. So, but the flight controller in here doesn't have black box. But I do have a new flight controller. It's going in here with black box. So we'll move this over, get this black boxed, and then we can compare this rig to this rig. That I've got the little bit of weirdness. But again, this does fly totally fine. I am going to give less D-term on roll. I thought we were doing more D-term. Brandon, didn't you say that more D-term could help damp this nonsense out? I'm gonna go down to 25 on the D-min and 40 on the D-max. That'll be a pretty big change. And we'll see how it is. And that's where I'm gonna leave it. And that's where I'm gonna leave this live stream as well. I love every single one of you sons of bitches. And I'm going to see you again on Friday. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. Friday, I'll see you at 7. I'm going to fly this tomorrow. See how it is. With these newbie drone motors. And then I'm going to get back to newbie drone about these motors. I already have some feedback. I can already tell them that... no, less. D-term is driving this along with P-term. Got it. Yeah. RC and power motor. The RC and power... Most are... The 5-inch RC and power motors, the 2306s, the 2207s, those are fine. Those are great. The 1506 RC and power motors are awful. They're the most notchy, coggy motors ever. Some of the micro RC and power motors are nice and smooth. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. There's not like a brand that all of their motors are not coggy, unfortunately. So we have to just continue to buy these motors and spin them by hand or take high-speed videos of them on our phones to figure out whether or not they're coggy. But for the most part, you can just feel it when you turn them in your fingers. Man, this fucking phone. This phone went from being like completely pristine to being a total, just smashed, destroyed pit of despair. And now the screen is just... The shitty ass replacement screen is just like annihilated. Man, the drop that it took today, which was like not a hard drop, it really wrecked this screen. The screen had like popped all the way up and off. Yeah, it's don't get your phones fixed by Gear something or other. Love you guys. Here's some flying. I'll see you Friday. No stream the following Friday though. I gotta drive up. I think that's the 12th. I'm driving up to give the Mustang back to my dad. Hopefully my ex-wife will have sold me the Mazda 2 as per our agreement by that time. Big field battery coming at you with some epidemiology or epidemic sound, either or. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, faster, faster, computer, go. Later, friends! Be good.